Please focus on this activity. Please focus. If you have two charges but or have two objects but all of them have the same type of electric charges, like negative with negative and positive with positive, they have the same charge. What will happen if you make them close to each other؟ لو قربنا النيجاتيف من النيجاتيف وقربنا البوزيتيف من البوزيتيف، بصوا دول لوحدهم ودول لوحدهم، لو قربنا البوزيتيف من البوزيتيف او النيجاتيف من النيجاتيف، اهم حاجه they have the same charge. What will happen? A repulsive electric force arises between them. A repulsive electric force arises between them. A repulsion will happen between them. Repulsion يعني ايه؟ يعني تنافر. Repulsive electric force arises between them. This particle will move in this side and this particle will move on the opposite side, and that also happen for the positive particles. This will move to this side and this will move to the opposite side. A repulsion will happen between them. So if you make two objects that have the same charge close to each other, a repulsion will happen between them. A repulsive electric force arises between them. But if you make two objects that doesn't have the same charge, what will happen? An attraction will happen between them. An attractive electric force arises between them. This particle will move to here and this will move to here. So an attraction will happen between them. They will be attracted with each other. So if you have the same charge, an attraction will happen. If you doesn't have the same charge, different charges, and repulsion will happen. So if you rub two ebonite rods with a piece of silk, they will have the same charge. So if you make this rod close to this rod which is hang on here, what will happen? What will happen, mister? The free moving rod, this is the free moving rod, will moves away, repelled from the fixed rod. You have this and you have this, will repelled from the fixed rod. The two rods are negatively charged. They have the same charge because they were rubbed with the same object, with the piece of silk. With the piece of silk, they were rubbed with the piece of silk, so they have the same charge. So if you make them close to each other, a repulsion will happen between them. Or we can say that the free moving rod moves away, repelled from the fixed rod. This rod will moves away from the rod. And in the second case, if you have two glass rods and you rub them with a piece of silk and hang one of them freely, then bring the other rod close to it, what will happen? Will happen the same thing. The same thing will happen here. Why? Because the two rods are similarly charged with positive charge. All of them are positively charged because they rubbed with the same object. So what will happen? The same thing. The free moving rod moves away from the fixed rod. This rod will move away. The last case is that hang the ebonite rod after rubbing it with a piece of silk. So you have an ebonite rod and you rubbed it with a piece of silk. Then bring the glass rod, not openite, glass rod, not openite. After rubbing it with a piece of silk, so you have eponite rod, you have glass rod, you had rubbed them with a piece of silk. What will happen? The eponite rod will negatively charge it, the glass rod will positively charge it according to the electrostatic series. Here the glass and here the eponite. The eponite will negatively charge it, the glass will positively charge it. So let's come back to our case. The observation is that the free moving rod moves closer to the other rod, attracted to it. There are an attraction between them. Why? Because they doesn't have the same charge. One of them is negatively and the other one is positively. A repulsion will happen because they have the same charge, because they were rubbed with a piece of silk, all of them. And the second case, rubbing the glass rods, two glass rods with a silk, give them the same positive charge, the same charge, so a repulsion will happen between them because they have the same charge. But in the third case, an attraction will happen between them because they doesn't have the same charge. The charge formed on the eponite rod when rubbed with a piece of silk is negative, while the charge formed on the glass rod when rubbed with the same piece is positive. So if you rubbed two different objects with the same piece, they will have different charges, so an attraction will happen between them. Let's move to the second point. Question: predict the path of a beam of subatomic particle as it passes separately through an electric field formed by two plates. One of them is positively charged like that, and the other one is negatively charged. Can you predict the path of a beam of subatomic particle and with explanation? If the electrons moves in this field, what will happen? The electrons will deviated toward the positive plate. Why these electrons will deviated to the positive plate? I will tell you. Because they are negatively charged. The electron is negatively charged. The electron are negatively charged and the plate is positively charged. And different charges attract each other. The negative and positive attract to each other. So the electrons deviated to the positive plate because they have different charges, and the different charges attract to each other. But if the neutrons move in this field, these neutrons will move in a straight line without deviation. These neutrons will move in a straight line. This neutron will move in a straight lines without deviation, because neutron are neutrally charged. Neutrons are neutrally charged. The neutrons are neutrally charged. And the other, or the last case, the protons, if the proton moves on this field, it will deviate to the negative plate, Why? Because the protons are positively charged and this plate is negatively charged, and the different charges attract to each other. At this life application of the attraction of opposite electrocharges. If you want to plate a metal, you will use this paint spray. You will use it and you will paint the metal. We have this, the object to be plated. This object to be plated is charged with, and we have advantages from this application. Ensures an even layer of paint, so every place on the object to be plated is or have the same amount of paint. So the advantage ensures an even layer of paint and reduces paint waste. We will reduce the paint waste. Let's move to another point, the electric field. If we have a charge, positive or negative, if we have a positive charge, the region of space around or surrounding an electrical charge in which its effect appears is called electric field. So the region of space surrounding the electric charge, this space in which its effect appears, is called electric field. And we have another concept, electric field lines. There is some lines in the electric field is called electric field lines. So what is the electric field lines? Imaginary, not real. Imaginary lines that show the path taken by small free moving positive charge. So if we have a positive charge, or these lines is called or are called electric field lines. These lines come from the positive charge, come from it, but enter inside the negative charge. So it will get in negative charge and come out of the positive charge. Let's move to another point, different charges. The lines would be like that. The positive excrete these lines, and these lines will go to the negative charge. And if we have similar charge like negative or positives, the lines would be like that. There is an repulsion between them, and so on. If you have a metal plates with different charges, positive and negative, the lines would be like that. Come from the positive and go to the negative one. Come from the positive and go to the negative one. A charged plate and an opposite charge. If we have a charge, positive charge, and plate with a negative charge, also the lines will come from this charge and will go to the this plate, because they have different charges. Now let's look at this device, the electroscope device. Its composition I will tell you now. Copper disc and copper rod and glass container, 2 gold leaves, and this is the figure of the electroscope. Copper disc, glass bottle, copper rod, and 2 gold leaves. Its uses, let's take a look. To detect the electric state of an object. You have an object and you want to detect the electric state of this object. You want to know the electric state. positively charged, negatively charged, or anything like that. So the first thing you should do, touch the metal disc. This is the metal disc. You have to touch it. So touch the metal disc of the electroscope with your hand to ensure it is not charged by any electric charge. So you have to touch this metal disc to ensure that there is no charge on it. It is not charged by any electric charge. And 2, bring the object to be tested close to the electroscope disc until it touches it. This is the object to be tested. This is the object to be tested. You will bring it to close to the electroscope disc. This is the electroscope disc. You will make it close to this disc and until it touches. So you will make it touch the disc. So you have this object, you will make it close to this disc and you will make it touch this disc. And you will notice that the leaves of the electroscope don't diverge, spread apart like this. This is the leaves. This is the leaves. Then the tested object is not charged. Let's repeat that again. The leaves, this is the leaves of the electroscope, this is the leaves of the electroscope, don't diverge or spread apart like that. So it may be don't diverge or may diverge, may spread apart like that. So then the tested object is charged. So this electroscope is useful to be sure that this object is charged or not. If it charged, you will make it close to the disc, and if it charged, the electroscope leaves, the leaves will diverge, will spread apart, or they will not diverge, they will not spread apart, so they not charged, or charged. If they spread, they charged. If they doesn't spread, they not doesn't charge. And this is called charging by contact. This rod, the object to be tested, contact the disc. There is a contact between them. So charging by contact causes the electroscope disc and the two gold leaves to acquire the same type of a charge. So if the disc have a positive charge, the two gold leaves will have positive charge, and so on. And let's turn to the new concept, charging by contact. The process of charging an charged object by its contact with a charged object. So if you have a charged object like this rod, if there a touch between it and any something else like the disc, the disc will be charged when the rod will touch it. So if you make the rod close to the disc, then the disc will be charged too. If there a positive, it will be the positive. So the charging or charging by contact, it is the process of charging an uncharged object by its contact with a charged object. Now let's do this. If you want to determine the type of a charge on a charged object, if you have an object and you want to know its charge, you will do that. First, charge the electroscope. You have to charge the electroscope with a certain electric charge. For example, you will charge it with a positive charge. So this disc, you will charge it with a positive charge. You will charge this disk with a positive charge. And second thing you have to do, bring the charge of the tested object. Bring the charge of the tested object close to the electroscope disk without touching it. So if you have a rod, you will make it close to the disk without touching it. So if the gold leaves divergence increases, the divergence of the gold leaves increases, so or then the charge of the tested object is the same. So they have the same object, it's positive, because we charge it with a positive. So you will make the object to be tested close to the disk without touching it. So if the gold leaves divergence increases, what will happen? The charge of the tested object is the same. If the divergence increase, the charge of the tested object is the same, so it has a positive charge, and vice versa. How? If the gold leaves divergence decreases, if the divergence of the gold leaves decreases, then the charge of the tested object is the opposite, so you have a negative charge, because you charge the disk with a positive. So it is the opposite charge, it is negative charge. Now let's repeat that again. If you want to determine the type of a charge on a charged object, the first thing you have to do is that charge the electroscope with a certain electric charge like positive. And the second thing, you will bring the object to be charged close to the disk without touching it. If the divergence of the gold leaves increases, you have the same charge in this object, so you have a positive charge in this case. And vice versa, if the gold leaves divergence decreases, then the charge of the tested object that you have is the opposite charge, so you have a negative charge. I hope that this point would be more clear for you. Let's turn to another point. We have a question. I will tell you that. Give me the reason separation, divergence between the gold leads of positively charged electroscope decreases when an ebonite rod rubbed with a wall. Let's come back to this point. If you have an ebonite rod and you rubbed it with a wall, the wall would be positive and the ebonite would be negative. The wall would be positive and the ebonite would be negative. So the divergence between the two gold leaves would be what? Would decreases. So it will decrease. The divergence will decrease because they are not the same. They are not the same charge, because you have a positively charged for the electroscope gold leaves, and the ebonite is negative, so you have positive and negative. What will happen? I will tell you. Because the ebonite rod acquires a negative charge when rubbed with wool, and thus the divergence of the gold leaves decrease due to the difference in charge between the rod and the leaves. So now we can say that the electroscope can be used for detecting if the object is charged. If this object is charged, just charged, and you can know the type of charge on this object. So you know if it's charged, and you know the type of a charge, and comparing the magnitude of charges on different charges objects. Look at this note. In charging by contact, the charged object touches the object to be charged without rubbing. So in charging by contact, the charged object touches the object to be charged without rubbing. And the second thing, the object to be charged acquires the same type of charge as the touching object. So if you have a rod and you have something like a disk, if this rod have a negatively charged, and touch this disk would be also negatively charged. So the object to be charged acquires the same type of charge as the touching object. And second note, attraction can occur between uncharged object and a charged object, as in the case of paper scraps, which is uncharged. These scraps are uncharged, being attracted to a comb after being rubbed. I will tell you that if you have a comb and you use it in your hair, what will happen? This car will be rubbed. This comb will be rubbed. So you have a rubbed comb. You have a rubbed comb. This rubbed comb is charged now. So if you make it close to these scraps will attract to this comb. Can you give me the reason? I will tell you. Because the comb friction with the dry hair gave it an electric charge that caused it to attract the paper scraps. Because the comb friction with the dry hair gave it an electric charge that caused it to attract the paper scraps. And second thing, we will say the paper scraps fall off after a few moments. It will not be attached to the comb all time. No, it will fall off from the comb, moving away from each other, because the contact with the comb gives the paper pieces the same charge as the comb, causing a repulsion between them, which makes them to fall. Because the comb, let's explain that. You have this comb and you have this scraps of paper. If these scraps are attached to the comb, it will be charged the same charge that the comb have, like positive, the scrap will be positive. So positive and positive, will be a repulsion between them. Between the scraps and between the comb. Now let's look at these two life applications. The first one, can you give me the reason? Foil transport vehicles like this. These vehicles have metal chain from it that dangle to touch the ground. Can you give me the reason why these vehicles has this chain to touch the ground? I will tell you. To discharge the electric charges generated by the friction of the foil with the surface of foil tank to prevent foil combustion. This vehicle have a foil tank that have a foil on it. This foil will make a friction on the inner surface of the tank, will make a friction. This friction may make a electric charge, and this electric charge may make a combustion, a combustion in the foil tank. So it will be danger. It will be dangerous to do that. So this vehicle have a metal chain that touch the ground. Why? Can you give me the reason? To discharge the electric charges generated by the friction of the foil with the surface of the foil tank to prevent foil combustion. Let's move to the next life application. Lightning rod. Its composition: a metal rod, the lower end fixed in a plate buried in the ground. So we have this rod. This rod is like that. There is a plate in the lower end of it. This plate is buried in the ground like this, but the upper end pointed, this pointed end, allowing accumulated electric charges from nearby clouds. There is a clouds or nearby clouds from this road, from this lightning rod. So this rod will accumulated electric charges from this cloud, will accumulated like that, accumulate these charges. Why we use this lightning rod to accumulate these charges from the nearby clouds? I will tell you. Because these charges maybe make some damage to anything. So this rod will accumulate these charges and will pass these charges to the ground without causing any damage to the building. I hope this video would be useful for you if you found it like that. Please press like and give us a nice comment and subscribe to our channel. And finally I will say سبحانك الله وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك ودمتم في أمان الله والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.